Now, I'm just going to circle back on a topic that we've been discussing lately, the subject of winged deities, but from the point of view of a little bit of analysis. We've been primarily giving just raw information and also different art forms for the winged deities. So, but what we have done is we've divided into early, middle, and late. And early is really looking at really two parts. It's the early Khon practice of Vajrakila, and then a Mahakala with a Kila peg lower torso, and then some miscellaneous deities, not very many. Then we have the middle period with Shenchen Luga, which is 11th century primarily, and the Bun deities, and then we have the Purba Drukse Chempa, and the main what's considered the main text is, I believe, revealed treasure by Kutsa Dao, and that's, I think he's born around 1024. Date of death is a little bit uncertain. Then we have the late, and the late is all the revealed treasure, the Nyingma tradition, Terma, and this is all post Nyangro Nima Oser. So we're looking at 12th century, late 12th century for that. But what we're interested here in talking about is what really is the origin. What can we say is the earliest? And right now we really have to go with the Vajrakila and then the what's called Panjara Mahakala, but it's just called that. It's not really a gur or coming from the Panjara Tantra. It predates the Panjara Tantra, because we're looking at the Vajrakila and the Mahakala coming down from Khon Lu'i Sungwa, an early relative of the Khon family, which is the heads of the Sakya tradition for the last, I guess it's really 900 years now. So what we really have to look at that's in question is this Vajra Chakrasamvara. Now, this is said to come from, supposed to come from Indrabhuti, and then I believe to Lakshmi, and then down to Bhikshuni Shri, who's Gelongma Palmo, and then it comes down into the Ra tradition, Ra Lotsawa Dorje Drak. Now, this is really not seen in tantra with the Shaivas, the Vaishnavas, or the Vajrayanists of India. This kind of Garuda-headed, five-faced Garuda-headed on the top, Chakrasambhara. So I actually think that this is possibly a reconstructed lineage, and it's very possible that this practice does come from Tibet somehow. And part of my thinking on this is Gene Smith always used to tell me that we have to be a little bit cautious of the obscure lineages that have Ra Lotsawa Dorje Drak in them. And we see this with some of the Yamadharma Raja practices, the obscure ones within the Gelug system that are said to come from Ra Lotsawa Dorje Drak. And Gene Smith says that we don't have evidence of them really going back into India. They appear in Tibet first. Now, the next is, just to get out of the way, is a Kakamukha Mahakala. This actually is a secondary deity out of the one-faced forearm Mahakala coming down from Nagarjuna, and it also goes into the Ngok tradition of the Marpakagyu. It also comes through Abhaya Karagupta and Tsami Lotsawa, Mundrup Sherab, who is quite famous for bringing one of the systems of 84 Mahasiddhas to Tibet. So the Kakamukha Mahakala is in fact a bird, so we can dismiss it. It's like the Garuda or the Kyung. They are birds. They're not deities that have wings attached to them. So Garuda, Kyung, and the Kakamukha Mahakala are all similar. The reason I include Kakamukha Mahakala sometimes is because we do find single scroll work paintings of Kakamukha. So he does sometimes stand alone, apparently, in some systems, some Tantric Buddhist systems. Now, the other two figures that we have to be concerned about are the Hayagriva with wings and then the Hayagriva Padma Ishvara. Now, the Hayagriva with wings, the first one, is coming through Jo Atisha. Now, the issue with this is in the texts that have been looked at so far, the lineage goes Jo Atisha, and then he gets the Hayagriva from Avalokiteshvara. There's no Indian source for this. So it's possible that the Hayagriva is coming from India with Atisha, and then the wings were attached, symbolically attached in and textually in Tibet, or they could have been attached after Atisha's passing. Now, for the Padma Ishvara that's coming from Nyenlo Tsawa, this comes through also a bit of a sketchy lineage, which appears more Tibetan than it does Indian. With large lapses in time between various teachers who are mentioned. So it appears also to be a bit of a construct. So the Padma Ishvara Hayagriva may be completely fine, but the wings may have been added also later once wings became popular in the late 12th, 13th, 14th century. So unless we go back and look at all of the early texts and ritual texts and sadhana texts, it's really hard to know for sure what was there originally and what the original lineages were for the Vajra Chakra Samvara, the Hayagriva with wings of Atisha, and the Hayagriva Heruka practice of Nyenlo Tsawa, Dharma Drak. So anyway, just a little bit of analysis, and so we're back again with Vajrakila of the Khon lineage and the Mahakala that goes along with the Khon lineage as being the originals, because it long predates the slightly later Sarma, and it also predates the Bon images of the 11th century. So we'll leave it there. You can press subscribe, you can like, you can join HAR on Patreon, and you can also make a donation on the homepage of Himalayan Art Resources. We survive 100% on donations as a not-for-profit organization.